Honor was never about being good. It was never about kindness, fairness, or even justice. In the world of the samurai, honor was a blade, sharp, cold, and indifferent to modern morality. What we call virtue today would have meant very little on a battlefield soaked in blood and silence. To understand Bushido, we must first strip away the comforting lies we have wrapped around it. In 17th century Japan, a wandering swordsman named Miyamoto Musashi walked through provinces with nothing but 2 swords and an unshakable presence. He fought over 60 duels and was never defeated. He wrote of strategy, perception, and discipline, but he did not write about being morally pure. His teachings were not about goodness. They were about clarity, survival, and alignment with one's role in the world. This is the harsh truth of Bushido. Honor was never about morality. It was about loyalty, reputation, and the willingness to die without hesitation. And until we accept that, we cannot extract its deeper wisdom for our own lives. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Moral Honor. In modern times, we speak of honor as if it were synonymous with kindness. We teach children that honorable people are fair, gentle, and compassionate. But the code that guided the samurai, what we now call Bushido, was forged in a feudal society built on hierarchy and war. A samurai's highest virtue was not universal goodness. It was unwavering loyalty to his lord. If his lord commanded him to fight, he fought. If his lord commanded him to die, he died. If his lord was corrupt, the samurai's duty did not disappear. Honor meant fulfilling one's role completely, even at the cost of personal moral judgment. The self was secondary to obligation. This is difficult for the modern mind to accept. We are taught to prioritize personal conscience above all else. Yet the samurai understood identity differently. They did not ask, "Is this good?" They asked, "Is this my duty?" The distinction is uncomfortable, but it is essential. Consider a man named Arjun, a project manager in a crowded city. He prides himself on being ethical, thoughtful, and fair. Yet he lives in constant anxiety, torn between pleasing his superiors and protecting his team. He hesitates in decisions, fearing he might be judged harshly. His morality is sincere, but it fragments him. Arjun believes honor means being liked and being right, but every day he feels weaker, not stronger. His principles shift depending on who stands in front of him. He does not lack goodness, he lacks structure. Chapter 2. The Weight of Role. In feudal Japan, structure was absolute. Society was divided into rigid classes, and the samurai stood as the warrior elite. Their lives were governed by discipline, ritual, and the acceptance of death. Texts like Hagakure describe the way of the warrior as living as though already dead. This was not poetic exaggeration, it was a practical instruction. If you are already dead, fear loses its grip. If reputation is worth more than survival, hesitation disappears. Honor, then, was not moral softness. It was consistency between identity and action. Arjun encounters this idea during a quiet evening when he reads about Musashi's philosophy. He learns that Musashi emphasized perception over emotion, strategy over impulse. The warrior does not react from personal offense. He acts from position. Slowly, Arjun begins to question whether his exhaustion comes from trying to be morally perfect instead of functionally aligned. The samurai did not wake each morning asking how to be virtuous in abstract terms. They asked how to perform their role flawlessly. This did not make them saints. It made them stable. Chapter 3. Discipline over emotion. There is a common misconception that Bushido glorified emotionless cruelty. In reality, it demanded emotional control. A warrior overwhelmed by anger or sentiment was a liability. Zen Buddhism deeply influenced the samurai class, teaching presence, detachment, and awareness. Through practices aligned with Zen, warriors cultivated stillness in the midst of chaos. Stillness is not kindness, it is clarity. Musashi wrote in the Book of Five Rings that one must see things as they are, not as one wishes them to be. This principle cuts deeper than any sword. Most modern suffering comes from resistance to reality. We want the world to be fair, gentle, and affirming. When it is not, we feel betrayed. Arjun begins experimenting with a simple, non-negotiable action. Each morning, before checking messages, he sits in silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no planning, just observation of breath. At first, his thoughts race. He feels unproductive. Yet over weeks, something shifts. He notices that his reactions at work soften, not because he becomes nicer, but because he becomes less surprised by difficulty. The samurai trained relentlessly, not to become moral heroes, but to reduce unpredictability within themselves. Discipline narrowed the gap between stimulus and response. This is the hidden strength of Bushido. Chapter 4. Loyalty and the Modern Void. In the past, loyalty was clear. A samurai served a specific lord. His allegiance defined his existence. Today, loyalty is scattered. We serve companies that may discard us, communities that barely know us, and identities that change with trends. We are loyal to comfort above all. The harsh truth is that without a chosen allegiance, the mind drifts. Bushido's power lay in its rigidity. The samurai did not waste energy negotiating their identity every day. Their path was defined. Arjun realizes he has never consciously chosen what he serves. He claims to value family, excellence, and integrity, yet his schedule reflects only urgency. He begins a ruthless elimination process. He removes one weekly commitment that does not align with his declared values. Then, another. This is not dramatic. It is quiet and methodical. In doing so, he begins to experience something unfamiliar: coherence. His actions start matching his words, not because he has become morally superior, but because he has accepted responsibility for defining his role. Chapter 5. The Cost of Honor. We must not romanticize the samurai. Bushido justified violence, suppression, and extreme acts of self-sacrifice, such as seppuku. The code demanded death over disgrace. From a modern ethical perspective, much of it is troubling, but to dismiss it entirely is to miss its structural brilliance. Honor functioned as an internal regulator, stronger than external law. When reputation meant everything, behavior stabilized. The warrior's fear was not punishment, it was dishonor. Arjun faces a moment of decision when a senior executive pressures him to conceal a costly mistake. In the past, he might have complied to preserve comfort. This time, he recalls the principle of alignment. If he is to define himself as a leader of integrity, concealment fractures that identity. He does not dramatize the situation. He calmly presents the truth, accepting potential consequences. The outcome is tense but survivable. More importantly, his internal conflict disappears. For the first time, he understands a fragment of what honor truly meant. Not moral grandstanding, but unity between declared identity and action. Chapter 6. The Warrior Within Modern Life. The modern world does not require swords. It requires attention. It demands the ability to remain steady amid endless distraction. The warrior principles of Bushido are not about aggression. They are about elimination. Musashi advocated studying many arts to understand strategy broadly, yet he warned against scattered focus, depth over noise, precision over excess. In a time of infinite options, this teaching becomes even more severe. Arjun adopts another non-negotiable system. He chooses 3 daily priorities: aligned with his long-term purpose, and completes them before responding to external demands. This small constraint reshapes his days. He feels less reactive, more deliberate. Honor, in this context, becomes the refusal to betray one's chosen structure. It is not about appearing virtuous. It is about refusing to fragment. Chapter 7. Silence and Presence. The samurai valued silence not as mysticism, but as power. Words were measured, emotions were contained. Presence itself communicated readiness. In many accounts, a duel was decided before the first strike, through composure alone. Modern life encourages constant expression. We explain ourselves endlessly, seeking validation. Yet there is strength in restraint. Silence allows observation. Observation sharpens timing. Arjun experiments with speaking less in meetings. He listens fully before responding. When he does speak, his words are concise and deliberate. Colleagues begin to treat his input with greater weight. Nothing mystical has occurred. He has simply reduced noise. This is the practical inheritance of Bushido, mastery of self before mastery of circumstance. Conclusion. Beyond morality, the harsh truth remains. Bushido was not a universal guide to kindness. It was a code designed for warriors in a brutal era. It valued loyalty above personal moral debate. It demanded sacrifice without hesitation. It can appear cold, even merciless, yet beneath its severity lies a lesson urgently relevant today. Honor is not about appearing good. It is about being internally aligned. It is about choosing a role, defining non-negotiable actions, and eliminating contradiction between word and deed. Musashi walked alone, undefeated not merely because of skill, but because he was indivisible. His mind did not fracture under pressure. He saw clearly, acted decisively, and accepted consequences without complaint. Arjun's life remains ordinary. He still faces deadlines, conflicts, and uncertainty. But he no longer chases the comfort of universal approval. He serves what he has consciously chosen. He maintains small daily disciplines. He accepts that honor is not softness. In the end, the way of the warrior is not about swords or death. It is about coherence. And in a fragmented world, coherence is rare. To live with such steadiness is neither moral nor immoral. It is simply disciplined,